Thanks for tuning in, everybody, to episode 5 of Out of the Starting Gate with Matt Dinerman, sponsored by Oaklawn Park. Matt Dinerman here, track announcer at Oaklawn, alongside our good friend of the show, Cody Caudill, jockey agent. Cody, today we are going to discuss everything Rebel. Rebel's the biggest race card of the week in Northern California, and I think, just looking at the overnight before I even handicapped it, the best card I've seen, along with Pegasus Day, throughout the country since January 1st.
Yeah, we have a lot of action on Saturday. It looks like a great card.
It's going to be full of good betting opportunities, big fields. That's going to be the theme. We've got 140 horses in the main body of these races with 4 also eligibles, meaning there's 144 horses entered in 12 races. 5 stakes on Rebel Day, including, of course, the $1.25 million Rebel. That's going to go later on in the program. We've got a good set of wagering options for all of you horse players out there. We've got 3 pick 5s and 3 pick 4s. We have the early and late pick 5s and pick 4s, but we also have middle pick 4, middle pick 5, which we don't see that often here at Oaklawn. Races 5 through 9 consists of the middle pick 5, and then races 6 through 9 will be part of that middle pick 4. So for the multi-race bettors out there, there's a lot of good options, and we probably can find some value in this card as well, and we're going to try to give you some of our thoughts here throughout the program and throughout this show on Rebel Day 2025. So, Cody, I guess we can get right into it. Early first post is noon, so we're a little bit earlier than usual with that 12-race card in mind, and the gates open at 10:30 for the folks who want to be on track. I know, Cody, also, you love early first post.
Love an early post time.
It just fires you up, and it fires me up, too. And it's going to be a great day here on Rebel Day at Oaklawn Park. So without further ado, let's get into the analysis here. We'll talk about a variety of races, but we're really going to key in on the 5 stakes as well on the show today. And the first stake, race number 4, is the Carousel Stakes. Earlier this morning, I woke up to a text message from Cody. 7 of the 9 filly and mare sprinters in this race are stakes winners.
Yeah, we have a great group of fillies and mares lined up for the Carousel, and it ought to be a pretty decent race.
6-furlong event here. It's not a graded stake, but it sure looks like one given how much quality. All you have to do is note that stat, and that's all you need to know this is a jam-packed field. We'll go over the main contenders in the Carousel Stakes. Again, it's race number 4 on the program, and the rail horse Benedetta is one of the horses to beat with Flavian Pratt, Steve Asmussen, coming off of 4 straight wins, including a pair of stakes wins. Won the American Beauty here at Oaklawn last time out, and the Carousel is her next destination for Kaleem Shah and Steve Asmussen. The morning line favorite is Justique, who comes off a nice allowance win, first out for Cherie DeVoe. This runner has always done well sprinting. Tried routing on the turf, finally getting back to sprinting. I think this daughter of Justify wants to go one turn. She is the morning line favorite with Jose Ortiz in the saddle. Cody, there are more contenders, though. Tell us about a couple others.
Sandy Bottom's a little bit underrated. She just speed and faded in the Grade 1 La Brea against one of the best fillies in the country, Copion. So she's going to be one that's going to be mixing it up on the lead here. You have a stakes winner in Miss Arlington, stakes winner in Miss Bucaro. Our American Band won the matron here last year. And then we have the Lady Moscato, who just won the Bugler with Keith Asmussen. So pretty good field lined up here, and then Pistol rounds it out.
Pistol, very well-bred filly. She's one of 2 runners along with Mizoku looking for that first career stakes win. Your jockey, Keith Asmussen, is riding Lady Moscato. What's your thoughts on her?
I think the outside post is good for her, and this is a step up in class, but I think she can compete with them for sure.
She's a daughter of Quality Road, purchased for $800,000, good pedigree, has the looks as well. So the fact she won that last stake, the Bugler Stakes, which was for runners that have never won a sweepstakes. So
yes,
she's not eligible for those overnight stakes at this point in those types of scenarios for those stakes runners that have not indeed won a stakes race. American Band, interesting if she can run back to her American Beauty. I think she's sneaky in here. Miss Bucaro has won a pair of stakes races at Laurel Park. We don't often see Maryland shippers here at Oaklawn Park. She'll be making her Oaklawn debut here with Tyler Gaffleone for trainer Diane Marici. Now, Let's get to race number 5 on the program, Cody. This 5th race is a very intriguing race. It's not a stake, it's a maiden special weight. But number 7, Cornucopian, who is the 2-to-1 morning line favorite for Bob Baffert, a $1.1 million sale purchase by Into Mischief, has a number of fast works on the page. Usually we see that with the Bob Baffert trainees. And word on the street is that this runner has a bit of ability.
Yeah, he's a hype horse here, and there's a very good chance he's going to be on our up-and-comers list for next week's episode.
That's Cornucopian, and there you go. We could see an up-and-comer with him, or maybe whoever wins this race, if anybody's able to defeat this guy here. Irad Ortiz Jr., he's a number of big riders in town on Rebel Day. We've got Irad Ortiz, his brother Jose, Flavian Pratt scheduled to ride a number of horses, Florent Giroux in town for the Brad Cox barn as well, Tyler Gaffleone, Dylan Davis, and Umberto Rispoli from California as well. So whenever you see those big name riders here, Cody, that means that it's a big, big day.
Yeah, we have a loaded jockstrom for Saturday's races and a lot of money on the line too. So.
That's exactly right. $3.3 million in total in purse money handed out throughout 12 races on Rebel Day. I also want to note, Cody, our very first ever hidden gem is in this race as well, 67 Mustang.
It'll be interesting to see how he performs. He's coming out of an auction race into an open maiden special weight, so it is a step up in class. But he was very sneakily impressive in his last race.
You know, I might as well get to it since we're on race number 5. My Clocker Special is in this race, and it's not Cornucopian, a horse that I think can outrun his odds. Cornucopian seems like the one to beat, but I'm going to give out a horse here that even if we don't pick him on top, I think he can very well outrun his odds, and his name is Gunrunner Charlie, number 11. We'll take a look at this workout here out of the gate, going 49 seconds flat, now in the barn of Ruben Alvarado. This horse broke fine out of the gate. Last time out, after this workout, this horse actually ran in a race and he pulled up. And the reason he pulled up was because of an equipment problem. So with that in mind, I'm not concerned about the fact that he didn't finish the race last time out. He's wheeling back quickly here in just a couple weeks for this run here. This was actually on February 1st, but I love the way this horse is going right here. Just going nice and easy in 49 out of the gate. That was actually on February 1st. His last race was on February 8th. And Gunrunner Charlie certainly won by Gunrunner that has the pedigree to be decent. First time out, he had a bad trip. So Gunrunner Charlie is one that you want to watch out for in race number 5 today, or rather on Saturday, which is a really strong Rebel maiden special weight event. Now, we go to race number 7. This is a second level allowance race, and the one horse in here that is very intriguing is Just Steel, number 2, who of course ran second in the Arkansas Derby with your jockey Keith Asmussen. This afternoon he will be ridden by Nick Juarez. Just Steel off the layoff. He's got a 6 furlong gate work for the coach Dwayne Lucas. I know you've seen Just Steel in the mornings. What can you tell us about him?
He's developing well. He's a massive 4-year-old Justify colt, and he had graded stakes for him from last year. This is a setup race for potentially the Oaklawn Mile if he performs well, so let's hope so.
Oaklawn Mile, of course, on Arkansas Derby Day, so in about 5 weeks' time. This horse actually broke his maiden going 6 furlongs, Cody. Do you think this horse is going to be cranked up enough to win, or do you think, like you said, maybe he needs a race? How do you feel about that?
His sprint form is actually some of his best form, so I'd expect he performs well today. He might even be able to get the win. And I don't even think he's 100% cranked yet, but I think he's a very good horse, and down the line, more distance will help him too. So I think he's versatile and can do both.
And I like what you said about just the fact it appears he has physically matured.
Yes.
It's a really, really crucial time for these horses in terms of physicality, going from 2 and then to 3, and then that next step from 3 to 4. And I actually saw him on the track. He is a big colt.
Yes, a lot of the 3-year-olds of his caliber were retired last year because they completed their year and won other races, whereas Just Steel, he had a long 2-year-old year and had a big 3-year-old year, but after May, he had a break. So he has a lot of potential upside, and he's a improving 4-year-old with great 3-year-old form.
Good race there, race 7, a second level allowance. Just Steel is number 2 in the race. And also want to note that on this Rebel card, every race is either a maiden special weight, an allowance, or a stake. So no claiming races this card. All it is big fields and big quality, which is like what we like to see. And we'll go to race number 8, which is, of course, a race with very good quality. It's another stake. It's the Tri-Vista Overnight. So we mentioned earlier in the show, for runners that have never won a sweepstakes, we have a number of those types of races here this year at Oaklawn for the first time, and we find that here. Cody, the first runner I want to ask you about is your other jockey, Rafael Bejarano, his mount, In Just My Heels. She draws the outside. 4 of her last 5 starts have resulted in wins, so she's going really well, and she's out of the mare High Heels, who was a very nice graded stakes performer herself.
Yes, High Heels, loved Oaklawn. In Just My Heels, Ron took a conservative approach with after Oaklawn here last year and ran her in a couple allowance races in Indiana. That seems to have boosted her confidence. She's won 4 of her next 5. And then now she's in a stakes race that is for horses that have never won a stakes race. So it's actually a very good spot for her. I think the outside post does her well. She doesn't have to be really far back. She can be close. And I think this is a really good spot for her.
She's shown versatility in her last couple of races. And I was a little bit surprised, Cody, 2 starts ago, and she sat off the pace and won that way. Was that a surprise to you?
It was a surprise to me. I didn't think she had that much versatility, but she came from way out of it going a mile, didn't have a clean trip, and was just better than them. And then she followed that up with doing it again in her next start.
So she will be one to watch out for with Mr. Bejarano in the saddle. We'll talk about a couple other main contenders. Morning line favorite Penoir comes off a runner-up finish at Tampa Bay Downs on the Wayward Last behind Little Jamie. I would say, though, even though this race here is restricted to runners that have never won a sweepstakes, I think this is a tougher race than what you saw at Tampa.
Yeah, I think so, too. I mean, Little Jamie came back to perform somewhat well here, I believe, a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
And
against Wild About Hillary.
She's also ran against Loved and Tarifa, both graded stakes horses as well. So she's dropping back down in class a little bit. I mean, this race is probably equitable with the Wayward Last, I'd say.
I think Indy Label, coming off a runner-up finish to Corningstone, who's one of the better fillies and mares here on the grounds at Oaklawn, off that runner-up finish, is still eligible, believe it or not, for a second-level allowance, but she's going to try another stake. She ran on really well into a slow pace last time in the Pippin and galloped out with a huge gallop out.
Yes, I'd say Corningstone is probably one of the softer horses graded stakes-wise here. So this is probably still a little bit of a tough race for her, I would think. And maybe that last race is a little bit deceptive, running second there.
She certainly turned the light bulb on. She broke her maiden for 53 starts ago and has significantly gotten better with time. I'm also interested in Amber Cascade. She's number 10 in the race. Cherie DeVaux's running 3 horses here, and they all look live. And this gal, just like In Just My Heel, she's getting a little bit better trying stakes company after an allowance win.
Yeah, she's another one that this looks like a stepping stone to graded stakes races down the line, and she's very similar to In Just My Heels in that aspect.
That's the Tri-Vista overnight stakes. Of course, Tri-Vista Road, I think, is on the backstretch there. A number of trainers live on Tri-Vista as well, some big trainers as well. Really nice houses over there in that area. Let's get to the 9th race without further ado. And race number 9 begins the late pick 4 sequence, and it's one of our 2 really big feature races. That's the Grade 3 Honeybee, and we're going to go over every horse in this race, Cody. 3-year-old fillies, Kentucky Oaks implications. I believe 50 points to the winner for the Kentucky Oaks, and we're going to get right to the analysis here. We've got a strong field of 13 in this race, and we kick things off right away. We'll go in post position order. This is a 1.16 mile race, 500,000. Mohima number 1. Undefeated as a 2-year-old. She won a 1.8 Grade 2 race, the Demoiselle, at Aqueduct in gate-to-wire fashion. She's liked to be close to the pace. She was obviously always well-regarded. Her first race, she was 4-5 to win a maiden special weight. Purchased for $700,000, a daughter of Munnings. And this gal for the Brad Cox barn makes her first start as a 3-year-old.
Yeah, she definitely is the one to beat in here, I think. Her first 2 races were really impressive, and then they stretched her out to a 1.8 miles, and she got the job done. I think she could potentially get an easy lead in here, but going a 1.16 against this quality of fillies, I still think she's going to have to work for it.
Mohima ridden by Florent Giroux, who of course was aboard her first 3 starts. Brad Cox shipping in quite a few horses here for the Rebel Day card, and Florent will be on many of them as Mohima for Shadwell stable. 7-5 on the morning line. You think she'll go off at that?
I think that's a good morning line for her. There's a couple other competitive horses in here, but I thought that was fair.
They're going to bet her hard, and they did in all 3 starts she ran as a 2-year-old. 4-5, 31 cents on the dollar, and then 2-5. So Mohima, she's the one to beat according to the paper, according to the morning line. Necessity number 2, we've got a replay for her. She's a well-bred filly by constitution, and if you take a look right here, you'll see her easily winning a maiden special weight race, going a 1.16 on a fast track.
Yeah, 2-back she didn't break well. Last time she broke great. She got in a great position, and then Ramon Vasquez shot her through the rail, turned for home. She got a perfect trip. So I think she's a filly with a lot of upside. She's by constitution. That was her 4th career race, and I think the light bulb's coming on there. So 20-1, I think that's probably the best long shot play for this race.
She's gotten better with every race, and even 2 starts ago, if you take a look at that start, she almost fell down, and she was so far behind, and you can see it in the comment line here. Awkward break, that's an understatement, and came flying for 4th. So she was the trip play last time and got it done. We're going to go to number 3, Jenkin, next, one of 2 runners for Short Leaf Stable in this race. This one trained by Lindsay Schultz. She broke her maiden 2 starts ago, first time going 2 turns here at Oaklawn, and then came back in the mud to win the year's end stake. A daughter of Mineshaft. She is one that can run all day just looking at her race.
Yeah, I think Mineshaft's an underrated stallion. She's reeled off 2 in a row. She's clearly improving. Now, this is a lot tougher race, I believe, than what she ran in last time. 20-1's pretty intriguing, but overall, I'm going to prefer others. I mean, I do think she can maybe hit the board, but she's reeled off 2 straight, and I think she could definitely get a piece.
Jenkin, one that continues to grind along. She's freshened up since that December 29th year's end stake. So she herself, like Mohima, making her 3-year-old debut here in the Honeybee. Classic Appeal number 4, 50-1 on the morning line for good reason. Comes off a maiden win at Turfway, privately purchased by Bob Hesh Jr. and owner Deborah Barkley. But this one looks like she'll need to step it up.
Yeah, she's definitely up against it here.
Quick Kick number 5 for Tom Amos. She's intriguing. She's a multiple Grade 1 placed gal here that makes her 3-year-old debut. Ran 3rd in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies on the dirt at Del Mar last time in November, and was well beaten by Immersive and Vodka with a Twist. 2 starts ago ran 2nd in the Darley Alcibiades behind Immersive, who of course undefeated champion 2-year-old last year, 2-year-old filly. And Cody, she's coming off a layoff here. Since that November 1st race, she's worked a bullet 3 furlongs and then 3 5-furlong works. Is that enough in the mornings to get her cranked up, ready to run her best today?
Not for me. I think this is going to springboard the rest of her year. And the Immersive form is good, but what's behind Immersive has not been that good, I don't think. So, Quick Kick, she's a McKenzie filly that's shown that she wants to run her out of ground. I think she's going to probably need one here, though, personally.
Dylan Davis in town to ride for the Amos camp. So, Quick Kick, she will be making her 3-year-old debut in the Honeybee. Take Charge My Lady, one of 2 runners in here for Kenny McPeak. She won the Martha Washington Stakes. You'll take a look right here on the screen. The pace was not fast, Cody, in that race, and Julian Lepper, I think, made the right decision to just let her stride and get close to the pace down the backstretch run, and she kicked away from Quiet Side, in which I thought was a very impressive race.
Yes, very impressive, although I will say that Gowell's Delight, Kenny McPeak's other entry in that race, helped her a ton by putting Quiet Side in some tough spots and making the jockey on Quiet Side make some bad decisions.
Yeah, and we'll take a look at that, exactly what happened with Quiet Side in that race. I think Take Charge My Lady's one that every single race she's gotten better. And she is one that I think continues to thrive for the McPeak barn. Gunite Max number 7 is actually re-entered on Sunday in a sprint stake for the Travis Murphy barn, so there's a good chance that she'll run in that.
That's what I would think, yes.
Going Steady, this runner getting back to 2 turns, number 8 for Dwayne Lucas and Tyler Bacon. They've had a very good meet together. Comes off a maiden win sprinting, but now Cody getting back to the route game, and the only time we've seen this runner routing, she ran poorly, got tired. Behind California Sunset, who's come back to just turn out to be average right now in the 3-year-old filly division.
Yeah, not only that, her 7/8 races are the same way too. She's gotten tired going 7/8. She's gotten tired going a mile 16th. I think the bottom line is she's probably just a decent sprinter.
And Going Steady, we'll try routing once again. We go to number 9, Look Forward for Michael McCarthy, who sends out Bullard in the Rebel Stakes. Look Forward coming off a head win in the Santa Ynez. Broke her maiden first out. The only time she lost, she ran 2nd in the Grade 2 Starlet at Los Alamitos to Tenma, who of course came back to win her next stake in a race at Santa Anita. Look Forward, an interesting contender here for the McCarthy stable.
Yeah, on paper it looks like she's going to show speed, although when I watched her Starlet race at Los Al, she got there very easy to the lead. She rates well, and they drew away from the field big time. They were 9 lengths back to the 3rd place finisher. So this horse I don't think is going to get the lead in here, but I think she'll be close. She could run an okay race, but she's not going to be one of my top picks in here.
That's Look Forward, number 9. Number 10, Flashware, not one of my top picks either. This runner broke her maiden in a 1-turn restricted maiden special weight. That was going a mile, but since then has not been able to do much damage against winners.
Yeah, they're taking a shot here. I'm overall going to play against her.
Number 11, Anna Nima. She is one just like Take Charge My Lady, who is steadily improving, and she broke her maiden 2 starts ago, came back and won an allowance race at the fairgrounds. I thought that was a great stepping stone for Anonymma heading into the Honeybee. The question is, can she take that other step forward?
Well, what's interesting about Anonymma is that her first start here at Oaklawn in December, she actually beat Take Charge Milady. She had a much clearer trip than Take Charge Milady did, but she did get the victory there. She come back and sat up close to the pace and beat a decent field of horses, including California Sunset in the allowance race. So for a horse that's 15-1, you're getting a horse that actually beat one of the favorites in here.
And Anonymma, of course, with Take Charge My Lady, the 2 stablemates. Who do you think will go off at a lower price?
Between who?
Take Charge My Lady and Anonymma, the 2 McKees.
Oh, Take Charge Milady will definitely be lower. I could see her going off second choice. Like I said, she didn't get a very clear trip when Anonymma beat her, but I think Take Charge Milady is probably one of my favorite horses in here.
I think one of these two, if not both of them, are going to run very well from the McPeak barn. Now, we talked about Quiet Side a couple minutes ago. Quiet Side running second at 1-2 in the Martha Washington Stakes. She did not have a good trip at all, and we're going to take a look at this replay. Really, the key here is on the backstretch run, Cody. What did you see watching this race from Quiet Side?
It looked like Gal's Delight, like I talked about earlier.
Who's number 5 in this race, by the way?
Who's that?
Gal's Delight. We're just showing the replay
yes,
right
the replay,
here.
yes. And she made her make a bad decision, or her jockey make a bad decision, I think. They kind of rushed into the same spot, and he had to make his move really early. So I wanted to make a case here for Quiet Side. I think she's one of the more talented fillies in the race. She's also run against Good Cheer, who came back to gallop at Fairgrounds last weekend. So she's run against the best in the division. She got a bad trip last time. They sent her to Fairgrounds with this weather we have here, and she actually put up a bull at work. So she ought to be ready to roll in here.
58-4, bull at work going 5 furlongs. That's rolling. And this gal actually finished right behind Quick Kick in third in the Alcibiades at Keeneland. So those two have squared off. I feel like Quiet Side has a bit of a grinding running style, Cody, where she's around all the time, but maybe fillies can outkick her. So me personally, I'm going to try to beat her on the win end, but Quiet Side definitely has some talent, and Jose Ortiz is going to ride for the first time. Finally, a Wise Guy horse from Florida, 5G with Irad Ortiz Jr. aboard. This filly was super impressive in the cash run at Gulfstream Park, going a 1-turn, 1 mile, 1/9. That was a huge run, and the second place finisher came back to win.
Yes, she's a New York bred Vacoma filly out of a quality road mare. You'd think a mile 16 should be within the realm. The 1-turn mile at Gulfstream is kind of a weird distance. It makes horses, some horses love it, some horses hate it. So horses like 5G can win like by 9 lengths. Another thing is the Gulfstream racetrack. It's a conveyor belt sometimes. And this horse went to the lead and kept going. I don't know if we're going to get as big an effort here, but I do think she's competitive.
Would you say the 13 post hinders her? Because that's a tough spot to win.
It hinders her, but she has enough speed, I think, to get over immediately and kind of just track the one horse, I would think.
George Weaver, one that can ship all over the country. So the fact of the matter is shipping her here to the Honeybee, I think that's a positive endorsement because the best money for the Kentucky Oaks and the Kentucky Derby trails are here at Oaklawn. And that tells me that he must really like this filly if he wants to run her in the Honeybee, which is historically a pretty tough race every year from Oaklawn Park. That's race number 9, the 2025 Honeybee. Next race, race 10, we're going to go to the Razorback Handicap. The road to the Oaklawn Handicap here. They're going a 1/16, grade 3, 500,000, 4-year-olds and upward. A strong field, a large field of stakes horses here. 14, a full gate, entered for this race, and there are 4 stakes winners, graded stakes winners, I should say, out of the bunch here. Now, the morning line favorite in this race, we go towards the inside, number 2, Banishing, Cody, and Banishing is a very peculiar, I guess you could say, entry because this runner, since moving to the David Jacobson barn, has been thriving and improving, and this horse comes off a dominant win in the Byerly Turk Stakes, got 100 Beyer that day. 2 starts ago, he defeated next out King Cotton winner Tejano Twist, got a 103 Beyer that day. But those 2 races were going 6 furlongs, and David Jacobson taking a shot with this horse and getting him to the route of ground this afternoon.
Very interesting entry. This horse we had chalked up as one of the Count Fleet favorites. He's a ghost zapper out of an APND mare named Dowager, Godolphin bred. He's got a bunch of 2-turn form early in his career, and it was kind of crazy to think that he could be as good of a sprinter as he was. So they're stretching him back out to the 2 turns. It's a weird move, but I kind of like it.
So have you seen this horse do okay in the past going 2 turns? That's a question mark that we want to look at.
Yes, I have. Actually, this horse was on the Derby Trail somewhat as a 2-year-old and run one big race going 2 turns. I think David Jacobson's got him going the right direction, obviously.
And Flavian Pratt is riding. Interestingly enough, Ricardo Santana Jr. has ridden this horse the last couple races, and he hops off. He had a choice between Banishing and Baddest Good Boy. Baddest Good Boy is number 8 in this race for Norm Cassie. Broke his maiden first out sprinting, comes back, wins a first level allowance, and gets a 98 buyer. A son of Bernardini out of a Pleasantly Perfect mare, Sri Lanka. And after 2 starts, just 2 races, Baddest Good Boy is running in the Razorback, and clearly the runner with the least experience.
Yeah, very ambitious spot for a very impressive horse so far in his career. It's definitely interesting that Santana opts to ride him over Banishing.
Banishing and Baddest Good Boy, just one of many contenders in this race. First Mission, our Essex Handicap winner from last year, is one that was dominant that day, came back and easily defeated the Ali Sheba field at Grade 2 on Kentucky Derby week, but since then has run a couple of subpar efforts, goes to the sidelines, and comes back off a layoff. What are your thoughts on him? We know Brad Cox has him ready off of layoffs, but he'll be ready and fit. The question is, how good is he?
So he's searching for a Grade 1. He's won Grade 2s, he's won Grade 3s. Races like this, he's a great fit for. They're really waiting on him to win that Grade 1 this year. So I think this is a good starting point for him, and he's definitely one of the ones to beat.
Cherie DeVoe, we've mentioned her in the show. She's got Skinner with Jose Ortiz aboard. Ran 3rd to Hit Show in the Grade 3 Louisiana Stakes, I think on LeCompte Day. And Skinner is one of these horses, I know him from California. He's a grinder. He doesn't win all the time, but he always picks up checks.
Yes, he was actually on the Derby Trail as a 2- and 3-year-old last year, and it seems like he's coming into some of his better form of his career right now.
Those are some of the main contenders in the Razorback Handicap. And then, of course, after the Honeybee and the Razorback, it's the big one, race number 11, the Grade 2 Rebel. A full field of 14 entered in this race, $1.25 million, 50 Kentucky Derby points on the line here for whoever wins. Even the minor awards runners, I think 2nd through 5th, receive some points as well. This is a 1.16 mile race with the full field of 14. We're going to take a look at this graphic right here of the full field, and Cody and I will go through the entire field just like we did with the Honeybee. Cody, we're going to start in the Rebel with the rail horse, and he is the horse, sort of the people's horse, I guess you could say, and he's right behind us here on the screen. Cole Battle, who won the Smarty Jones and the Springboard Mile, and on Springboard Mile night, he defeated our Southwest winner, Speed King. Cole Battle, one that came from off the pace 2 starts ago. Last time he was on the lead, surprisingly to his trainer, Lonnie Briley, and he won drawing off. This horse, a little son of Cole Front, real small horse, but he has done some good work. And for the little guy, Norman Stables, Lonnie Briley, very cool horse.
Yes, he never garners much respect, but he's definitely a cool horse, and I think he'll show up and get a piece in here.
That's Cole Battle drawing the rail from the inside with speed to his outside. What do you project the game plan is going to be with this?
They weren't expecting him on the lead last race, but they went so slow up front, the jock made a split decision to go. I think this time from the rail again, I don't think that hurts him, but I think he's going to come from off the pace.
Admiral Dennis, number 2. Brad Cox likes to run in these big races. Of course, he's got a large string of 3-year-olds this year, and he's got Admiral Dennis for the Rebel. Comes off an allowance win at Fairgrounds, broke his maiden 3 starts ago at 3 to 5 at a maiden special weight, but his only stakes run, Cody, he ran very poorly at 4 to 5. I do like to see, though, that he ran 4th in a race that Magnitude was in, and Magnitude just got a 109 buyer in the Risen Star last week.
Yes, Magnitude ran huge. Admiral Dennis, when he broke his maiden, actually had a lot of hype behind him. He showed up in the Gun Runner as one of the heavy favorites, and he didn't break well. It's just an overall throwout. You throw a line through that race. He came back to win an allowance race where Authentic Gallop came back to win here. So the horses are as solid, but he needs to improve to be competitive here, I would think.
I would say he's probably not one of the stronger Cox horses we've seen in the Rebel. I think Timberlake, in terms of just on paper, it looked like he had a much better shot to win the Rebel than Admiral Dennis. But Admiral Dennis taking his shot, a son of Constitution. As we go to number 3, Sandman, we're going to take a look at his start in the Southwest, a Grade 3. As you can see, as it says in the comment lines, broke in a tangle. He had a horrendous break and pretty much lost all chance there, it would appear. But then you take a look at the far turn. He starts making a move, and if you take a look at this stretch run coming up right now, you're going to see Sandman dig in, come on for second. It was a very, very good effort. And because of all this, there are a lot of people watching Derby horses and saying this horse is a runner. What is your take on Sandman?
I think Sandman's a play against. Even though he didn't break very well last time, I think that overall aided him in the way the race played out. There was a ton of speed, a big pace setup, and it was prime for his late turn of foot to kick in. So this time he's going to get a pace in here, but overall I think he's going to be way too low of odds for me to back him this time.
Sandman with Christian Torres back aboard, our leading rider at the meet currently. Number 4, Hypnus. This horse was well regarded before his first race, but he was a well-kept secret, because he went off at 16-1, a son of Into Mischief out of the graded stakes winner at Dream Tree by Uncle Mo. And Hypnus won on debut for Kenny McPeek, going 2 turns over a sloppy surface, but it was a very impressive run.
It was. He won first time out, going 2 turns, which is odd. You don't see that very often from Kenny McPeek. This horse has Brian Hernandez shipping in, which I think says a lot. I mean, this horse ran really well first time out and has a lot of upside. I think if you get a price on him, he's worth every dollar.
Do you think this is a positive sign that this horse, he could have run in an allowance race next time out? There's actually a race on Sunday here at Oaklawn, a first level allowance, but they opt to run in the Rebel.
Yes, I think that's definitely a positive sign. I think that tells you how much they like him. And like I said, if you get any good odds in this horse, it's worth it.
Manicat Road, number 5. I mentioned Brad Cox maybe not having as strong of a contender as we've seen in past years with him in the Rebel with Admiral Dennis. The same can be said for Bob Baffert, shipping in Manicat Road, who broke his maiden second time out. They thought enough of him to run him in a stake going 7 furlongs first time out, and he was second best to Bullard, who's also entered in the Rebel coincidentally. But Manicat Road was third best at 5-1 behind the Breeders' Cup Juvenile winner Citizen Bull last time out. Second start as a 3-year-old here, but he is one that speed figures he stacks up, but it still appears that he probably needs to improve a little bit to win.
Yeah, I would go ahead and categorize him as a C-teamer for Bob Baffert. I don't think he has much chance in here at all.
Publisher, number 6. This horse is still a maiden. What's interesting about him, though, is we're going to take a look at this stretch run here, and Publisher was lucky not to go down in this race. He almost hit the rail, clipped heels very badly, stumbled very badly, and this horse was making a move. First question I have for you, Cody, is if this horse had got a clean trip up the rail, where do you think he would have finished?
I think he's in a photo for third, most likely. And in here, he's probably, at best, I think, could maybe get a piece, but you are getting a big rider change. He has a lot of talent, but overall, I think he's a play against.
Publisher with Flavian Pratt, the new jockey there. And actually, if you go to oaklawn.com/racing/workouts, you will find a number of workouts here at Oaklawn. Every single morning, we've got our camera crew filming those works, courtesy of Bruno DiGiulio and his team. And Publisher actually worked with Tiztastic and beat him in the work. They were head and head, but Tiztastic was all in. Publisher was on a hold. He wanted to do more. However, Tiztastic is not the strongest workhorse. So with that in mind, I think you can take that work with a grain of salt. But it's interesting, Steve Asmussen opts to try this maiden one more time against Stakes Company. Dreamin' Blue is also an interesting entry, number 7, with Francisco Arrieta. Christian Torres rode this horse last time out. He broke his maiden at 6 furlongs, and this horse got a 94 buyer. Is that 94 legit?
I thought it was a pretty good race. Some of the horses that exit out of there, you kind of question if they ran it that fast because it's a lot faster than their normal figures.
Sure.
So maybe it isn't, but overall, I think it's not questionable, but I thought it was a interesting decision to go a mile 16th in here. This horse is probably one of the best sprinters on the grounds, and they're trying something different here. I think he's definitely a play against.
By Street Boss out of a Curlin mare. So the bottom side especially says 2 turns.
Yes.
What's your thoughts about him stretching out, though?
I'm not very optimistic.
Okay, Dreamin' Blue, number 7. We go to number 8, Innovator. Another one last time out. You can question a little bit how far this horse wants to run, Cody, but I thought he ran good. He went to the lead at a decent pace in the slop in the Lecomte Grade 3 at the Fairgrounds for trainer Dwayne Lucas, and was third best, beaten 3/4 of a length to Disco Time, who we're going to see in one of the major derbies next month, whether it be the Arkansas Derby, the Florida Derby, the Wood Memorial, all in play for Disco Time. Innovator, one that has speed. I'm expecting him to use it.
Yeah, definitely. He ought to be on the lead here. He's a very quick horse. He stretched out from 6 furlongs to 2 turns successfully last time. The horse that beat him, Built, came back and ran a good race last weekend in the Risen Star. So he could hang around. I do think the mile 16th is probably going to be a touch fast for how much speed's in here.
A Son of Authentic they bought for $900,000, BC Stables and Team Lucas. Number 9, Smokin' Wicked, another one that is stretching out in distance. This horse is running a pair of Louisiana bred stakes and easily won that day, but 3 starts ago he ran against Open Company and smoked the competition, won by 8. Now Heavenville, the runner-up finisher, is an okay sprinter. Big Bow, decent enough horse, but they're not the type of quality we find here in this race. Smokin' Wicked. Question I have for you, Cody, first and foremost, will he stretch out successfully?
I doubt it. He's by Bobby's Wicked One, who was a sprinter, and he's out of a Street Boss mare who also was a sprinter. So this horse is a heck of a Louisiana bred. He's got a lot of speed to him, but I think 2 turns will ultimately be a failure.
Innovator, Smokin' Wicked are both runners. Do you project both of them to try to get the lead?
Yeah, I think Smokin' Wicked could probably just track Innovator, and I think they ought to go a solid clip in here, at least 23-47 for sure.
That could help Bullard, number 10, who's our next horse in the lineup here. This horse, first time out, on debut for Michael McCarthy, easily defeated a Bob Baffert trainee, Kalea Bay, then came back in the Bob Hope Stakes, got a fast pace to run into, and rolled down the lane, one for fun. But his next race, going 7 furlongs, the San Vicente, finished behind Barnes, who's one of the big horses in the 3-year-old division. He could be the best of all of them if the hype is legit on him, a $3 million Bob Baffert colt. But Bullard last time out, he didn't get the same scenario pace-wise as he did in the Bob Hope. And this time around, he's trying 2 turns. He's hoping for more pace to run into.
Yes, he seems like a one-run type of horse. At Santa Anita, there wasn't much speed on, and Barnes just went around there. Barnes is a really nice horse, like you said. 2 back whenever he made that big run into a fast pace. He did it against Madacat Road, who I don't have much respect for in here. The only positive, I think, to him is he's a gun runner, which those have stretched out successfully before. The Warriors Reward on the bottom kind of tells me maybe 1 turn might be better. So overall, if he's going to come from out of it and he gets a fast pace, sure, he might get a piece, but I don't think he's a win candidate here.
Well, definitely a win candidate is Speed King, number 11. Any way you look at it, he hasn't done much wrong. 3 career starts, broke his maiden first out at a price, came back in the Springboard Mile. Cody, first of all, before we get to this particular race, I thought Speed King was best of Cole Battle in the Springboard Mile, but Cole Battle got the right trip.
Yeah, he got the right trip. It was also Speed King's second start and first start around 2 turns, so maybe you can forgive him for that. He's obviously improved. He surprised us a little bit last time with how well he handled the 2 turns for how quick he went up front. So he gets a good outside post, I think, here. He could probably track the 8 and 9 in here, and we'll see if he can do it again.
Of course, that was the Grade 3 Southwest Cody was referencing to last time. This horse was very, very impressive that day. The early pace was slow in that race, but Tyler Bacon made an early move on American Promise to engage Speed King on the lead, and they kicked away from everybody else, and he kept chugging along. This horse, the only time we don't see a 1 on his running line is in the Springboard Mile at the finish line. So my question is, Cody, where do you see this horse into the first turn?
Like I said, I think he tracks the 8 Innovator and 9 Smokin' Wicked. He's probably sitting on his outside. He's a very rateable horse, so I think he could do that. It's just going to be a matter of if he can outkick the closers, turn it for home.
Are you concerned about the 11 post, or do you think that's good?
I think it's good. I'd rather have the 11 than the inside with all the speed in the race. I thought he drew well.
Speed King Rafael Bejarano back aboard. Number 12, Brereton's Baytown, a horse that comes off a $40,000 claiming win. Also entered at Turfway Park in a stake, so not sure if he's going to run. If he does, he's in tough.
He's in tough big time.
Tistastic, number 13. This horse started his career on dirt, didn't run well, went to the turf, woke up. He won a $998,000 race at Kentucky Downs on the grass, so he's made a lot of money. Since then, he's come back to do fairly decent on the dirt, was placed in the Grade 3 Street Sense, ran 3rd in the Kentucky Jockey Club to First Resort in Jonathan's Way, but most recently was 3rd off of freshening behind Speed King and Sandman in the Southwest. And if you take a look at this replay, you will see he finishes with some energy, now gets a new jockey aboard, Jose Ortiz, 13 post.
Yes, last time I thought he kind of would need a race and play him back next time. He didn't have the best trip either in that race. I think he got in tight and had to suck back and make a run. I think he can definitely jump up and win this race, especially if there's a lot of speed in here.
And finally, number 14, Hot Gunner, another one, just like Brereton's Baytown. Won by a head last time at Sam Houston, but was no match for the top finishers. In fact, he ran 6th in last, beating 12 lengths in the Smarty Jones. So
yeah, so that and the 14 hole, he's up against it.
That would be a big surprise. I mean, we've seen our Kong win a Breeders' Cup Classic at over 99-1, so I guess we've seen some crazier things, but a hot gunner drawn outside for Scott Young, Texas connections, Harry Hernandez riding. That's the field for this year's edition of the Rebel Stakes. And then one more race, race number 12, a State-Bred Maiden special weight there to end our card on Rebel Day. So, Cody, a lot going on here. Rebel Day, expecting a large on-track crowd as well for those in the area who are interested in coming out here on Rebel Day. It's going to be a phenomenal card, and we're looking forward to it. Cody, it's been a pleasure having you on, regular friend of the show, and I'm sure we'll see him again. This is Cody Caudill, jockey agent for Keith Asmussen and Rafael Bejarano. Eric Asmussen, of course, also riding here at Oaklawn. I'm Matt Dinerman. We'll see you next time. Have a great Rebel week. Out of the Starting Gate, Episode 5. Complete. We'll see you next time.